Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking, and today I'm coming to you with a new product. So I just got this in the mail yesterday and really am excited about it and want to get out and get some testing done with it. So what is this, you may ask? This is the QiWiz Firefly titanium wood burning stove, and this thing is super small, super compact, and super light. So why don't we take a closer look at this thing? It's pretty awesome. So this was sent to me by QiWiz himself. He just had some new ones made up, and so he shipped this one out to me to test. And so it all stores in this little Ziploc bag. You could actually store it in lots of different bags, and he makes an optional Tyvek bag with a fiberglass insert that keeps it all together. Now there are optional pieces in here as well. So you have some optional pot stand pieces for if you have a smaller pot. You have an optional little titanium piece that goes over the stainless steel mesh in the bottom to prevent airflow. So that'll be good for doing something like simmering or even trying some dry baking with this thing. It has this mesh screen insert that goes into the bottom, and then it has 4 pieces that make up the walls. And so it goes together pretty simply. If you look at the sides, it has slits, and if you match them up and have the little support pieces to the inside, it goes together pretty easily up until the last piece. So the last piece, make sure it's aligned, get it together, and then you kind of have to bend it a little bit, pull it apart. And then what I found works the best is just slide that through the slot that's there and then down. That way you don't have to bend it too much to get it to fit. Then you take your mesh screen and place it down in the side that has the door, because the door has this little retaining clip down at the bottom. You want to make sure that you get below that. Now right now I'll say that this thing seems very flimsy. You can see that it just kind of moves around. This is what will fix that. So getting it in there, it is a snug, pretty tight fit. Once you get that down in there, get it where it needs to be, now this thing becomes nice and rigid and will hold up really well. So this is the firebox of it. This is the Firefly, and so it has this door, and this feeding door can be either opened or closed. Because this is the pot stand for a normal pot, you probably can only open it that far if you decide to open it after the pot is on. Otherwise, you'll have to open it and leave it open the entire time if you're going to want to feed sticks through there. Now, I think primarily for most of the way that I'll be cooking, I won't be using this, but it is a good option to have in case you want to cook for a longer period of time. You can open this up and feed through here longer sticks. So the optional pieces, this would go down inside and sit on top to limit the amount of airflow through the bottom, which would keep the fire burning cooler. These pot supports go onto, there are little cutouts on the 3 sides that don't have the door that they fit down into and lock in place pretty nicely. There we go. You can see that. And so if you have a more narrow pot, so these are the normal pot supports, those pieces there on the sides. If you have a more narrow pot, this will work really well to hold it. So I'll actually show you how I would use that. So that's what we have here. So why don't we take a look at it with some pots on it and take a look at how well this thing burns, how well we can get this thing going. I'm pretty excited to be trying this thing out. So let's do this. Now before we go any further, why don't we take a look at the weight of this stove. So this is just the stove, the firebox itself, 71.7 grams, and if we go to ounces, That is 2.53 ounces. So 2.5 ounces for this little stove. If we add in the piece to do some baking or simmering and the 2 pot stands, and I'm just going to set these down in here for right now, that comes up to 77.9 grams or 2.75 ounces. Now when we compare this to some of the other stoves out there, the Toaks stove that I've been using is over 7 ounces, and the titanium Tato Gear Element stove that I had used and tested, I believe that one is right around 5 ounces. So this one is about half the weight, especially using it the way that I normally will use it, which is right there. This is half the weight of the Tato Gear one, which I consider to be a pretty lightweight option for wood burning stoves. Okay, so here's the stove, and if I go to put a pot on there, this is my 10 cm pot from Batch Stoves, and this is primarily the pot that I'm going to use if I'm doing any wood burning, because it's already, you know, got the stains from the soot. It's no longer dirty to the point where I get dirty from it, but you can see it's been stained from the use, and so it works really well. Sits on there, nice and stable there. But if I was to use something like my 12 ounce, well, you'll see it really doesn't fit. I mean, it'd be hard. You might be able to get it to hang on there a little bit, but then if it goes down in, it doesn't really fit. So that's where the pot stand pieces come in play. Okay, so now I've got the pot stands on there, and I can just set this on top, and now it's nice and stable right there. Can move it around, set it down, and it's good right there. So for this one, for the 10 cm or anything about that size, just using the integrated pot stand is going to be perfect. If I was taking out something smaller, doing a solo, very lightweight trip, and I was using this, I would add in those 2 little pot stands, and that will work out perfect. So right here I have all the pieces that I need to get this thing going. So I'm going to show you guys how I load it up. So I've got the actual firebox of the Firefly right here. I've got my pot with some water. I've got bigger sticks that are kind of broken to about the length of from the stainless steel mesh to definitely below the pot stands, and then I've got some fire starting material there. And what I want to do is a top down burn. So I'm going to use these sticks that I have here and start loading it up. I'm going to put them in there vertically like this, just kind of load it up this way. This is what I've found to be some of the best ways to do it when I've been using these types of burners. So this is what we're gonna try. I don't want to load it up all the way. I want to have it fairly loaded. So that should be good. It's nice and loose, so there's actually still plenty of room for the flames to get some air. Now I've got just a piece of tissue here with some Vaseline on it, and then some smaller twigs there just to use as kindling, just to get it going. So let's put that on top. Make sure I'm on a nice stable level ground. Let's see what we can do here. So now it looks like, if we look here, we can see that the wood that's down below has started to catch. Now what I found is that doing it this way, using the top-down burn method, creates less smoke and a more efficient burn, really. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes and then I will put the pot on. So now it looks like it's going pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and put the pot on. Let's see if we can bring this water to a boil. So it really hasn't been that long. I added a couple little pieces of wood just really recently, and I had about 1.5 cups of water in there, and it seems to be boiling pretty well. And there's a lot of flame coming out of there, so this thing works pretty nice. So after boiling the water for quite a while, this is what it looks like. There's still a good amount of heat coming off of there. So I'm gonna let these burn till they're cool, and then I'm gonna dump it out and see just how thoroughly it burned the wood that we had in there. So it seems like the heat is pretty much gone. I can touch the stove, no real heat going on there. So what I want to do is pick this up. You can see that it looks like there's still some sticks in there, but I believe that those are just ash. And they are. So let's dump this out. And here we can just kind of tap on all this stuff. And where it looks like they're sticks, they're really completely burned. So from that entire thing, we came up with really nothing. It burned pretty completely, which to me is a good indication that it burns pretty efficiently. And very little smoke from what I had going on. You can see that because it's not very sooty inside, and my pot wasn't all that dirty because it was not smoky at all. And that's what I like about you can see a little bit of soot right here. Very minimal amounts on this thing, very minimal amounts, and it's because doing that top load fire, top down burn, I think is my preferred way to go for sure. So there it is, guys. That is the QiWiz Firefly. It's also available in the XL version if you want something a little bit bigger than this. 2.5 ounces, super lightweight, super packable. I mean, you could probably throw it in something a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter than this Ziploc bag and get away with it, because I can totally, I can fold it almost in half there, and there's quite a bit on the side I could fold it over. Really could get away with a package that big and about that thick. Great little stove. Brought my water to a boil, no problem. Even though it's small, it had a nice stable platform, so I wasn't having any problems there. Guys, I think it's a good deal. So I'll throw the website right down here below, and it'll be down in the links down below so that you guys can check it out. And if you're interested in a very lightweight wood burning stove option to go out backpacking with, I think this might be what you're looking for. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in, checking it out. I've got lots more coming, so keep checking back. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead, go down below, subscribe, like, comment to this one, and guys, I'll see you down the trail.